Hello, everybody. Jay Real with my sister Kathy on this. I was going to say December, January the 25th, 2025, and doing a midday show. It's been what 8, 9 days since we did the last one,
Yeah.
but there's a few things that's happened. Few things we can talk about, and doing some catch up work here. And what's going on your end, sis?
I just got the pop up saying Jay Reel's live. Not a whole lot. One grandkid's went back to school, Dorothy Dot, and then her brother has got some kind of stomach virus, but April said it's not real bad, thank goodness. But his dad, I heard him saying in the kitchen, because I called and talked to John, and John was in the kitchen, and I heard his dad say, you want some noodles or something, son? And John said, no. I said, hey, buddy, tell daddy you want popsicles. And they're like a street away from a Walmart. So his dad could would pop over there. And I said, because that's just flavored ice, buddy. And that'll settle your stomach, maybe. He said, yeah, it's settled, but I don't want nothing, Nana. I said, yeah, baby, but that's extra water. That'll be good for you.
Yeah.
But other than that, no news. It's good news.
Yeah. Well, and then there was a news report a couple of nights ago on the local news, Channel 10, about them damn stomach viruses that are spreading around, stomach flu or whatever, where people you throw your guts out for 2 or 3 days, and then you want to drink something like sports drinks and things like that, that kind of place your fluids and your electrolytes and things like that because you throw so much up,
Yeah.
Haven't got anything like that, hopefully. Hopefully I'm not going to get it. I went to town yesterday with my neighbor Tommy and went to the drug store or drug center at Walmart, and he had some medicine to pick up, and I wanted to talk to the pharmacist there, and there was a woman behind me had a wet hacking cough, one of them wet, phlegmy coughs.
I would have scattered.
And she wasn't real close to me, but she was close enough to where you could just see the germs flying in the air because that
couldn't do it.
That wet, and she was just constantly coughing and hacking. And I wanted to say, you're not supposed to bring that shit in the public.
Well, remember what 2017 when I was living down there, Jay? I wore a mask in the winter.
But you're like, sorry to interrupt you, sis, but we got Acres on here. Acres, do you want to join us? I can put the link. I sent you the link to your email if you want to check your email. But do you want to join us? You said you would do audio. So if you want to join us, check your email. I sent the link to you. And that way I won't have to do so much reading. I prefer De Palma or Hitchcock? I put them kind of even together. I love De Palma. I love Hitchcock. So I'm going to put them even. But sorry to interrupt you, sis, what you were talking about.
No. I mean, I'm just saying, I've learned how to be extra protective anyway, because of my asthma and my lungs being squirreled up. But yeah. So.
Yeah, well, and that's what I wanted to talk to the pharmacist about. It's like, well, is there any kind of boosters I need? Because I got the COVID and flu shot the same day in September.
Yeah.
And she said, no, you're good. You're caught up as far as those are concerned. And I said, well, any other you would suggest? She goes, well, you might want to get the shingles vaccine if you haven't got it. I haven't got the shingles vaccine. But they checked my insurance and all that and said, well, really, it says here you need to get that at your local clinic or whatever. So,
well, there's one more vaccine I wish you would get. And to me, it's just as important, Jay, as the flu vaccine we get every year, and that's RSV. They've got a vaccine.
Let me write that down.
Yes, you need it. Now, it's young children, all children really, and elderly people are more susceptible, right now because I don't care how built up you are physically, your body still is not, can get this. And I found out, I took it last year and I was going to take it again this year because I thought it was like the flu vaccine. And the pharmacist says, no, once you get it, you got it. So you don't need another one. But it's respiratory. It keeps you, well, it won't keep us, but it helps in just in case you come down with RSV, like Victor, right? It's a virus that a lot of people are passing around this time of year too. And it can turn into pneumonia. It's real dangerous. So I wish get that like you do the flu shot for me, and then I'll be happy.
Okay. And you said this is a one-time deal getting that.
Yeah, apparently so. I said I want it again. I'm immune. Well, I'm on oxygen when I'm at the pharmacy, so she knows I'm immune anyway, susceptible to anything. And she goes, you don't need it but once. And I said, really? She said, well, right now, unless they change the formula.
But anyway, Akers says yesterday for the stream, the new horse workers need proper instructions today so I can travel freely. So I didn't know you dealt with horses, Akers. And thoughts on a good year, Russell Crowe, Marion Tollard, Albert Finney, out at my ranch right now, teaching the new estate workers how to secure the horses.
Cool.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I've seen that movie that you're talking about there, right? But
I don't know. I love Albert Finney. I usually watch anything he's in.
Let's see. As far as news, local news on my end, nothing really. I went to town yesterday, picked up a few things, and the weather here. It's getting. We're trading the cold weather for rain because it's supposed to get up like in low 60s today. So we had a 4 or 5 days where it was below freezing every day, and it was pretty cold. But it's starting to warm up. But it's clouding up. They're talking about light rain tonight, and then beginning next week, it's supposed to rain. We'll get some proper rain.
Yeah.
We may get 2 or 3 inches of it. Before the next week is out. So. And pretty much every day has at least a chance of rain. So yeah, we're trading the cold for the rain in Texas. So
I turned down a little my sound. Let me know if I'm too low for you.
Yeah, no, you sound good. To me, you sound good.
Yeah.
But as far as anything personally, I guess I'm okay. I talked about my lab work, and that all turned out good.
Yes, I'm so relieved. I know. I mean, I know you are, but
other issues, but it's nothing really. It's just something that I'd like to have it looked into. If I'm okay health wise, which I apparently am, I said, well, there's some other things I'd like to inquire about. But I feel good. I still get my exercise daily pretty much and walk and things. I do a lot of walking. If it's going to start raining and pouring down rain, I won't be walking. But
are you sleeping?
I'm sleeping okay. Yeah, I got a new hang on.
They changed his medicine for him. So I'm hoping
well, trazodone really is a antidepressant, but I was taking that for sleep. Now and this is a generic form of, it's temazepam, and that is the substituted for Restoril. Temazepam. So
temazepam. Yeah. Isn't it odd how and I turn my sound on so I don't hear real well. But when you were walking away, you said it's an antidepressant.
Trazodone is the antidepressant.
Right, but they give it to you for sleeping.
They give, yeah. Well, that and they prescribe it for that too. But it's technically it's an antidepressant, but they also prescribe it for sleep. But now this temazepam or whatever, So I'm taking,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sleeping. I'm still waking up before sunrise, though. I still wake up. It's still dark. And around 7 o'clock, like clockwork, wake up pretty much the same time every morning. And I'll go pee and then I'll go back to bed and I can doze for another hour, hour and a half before I finally say, oh, the hell with it. And then go ahead and get up, because I'm just tossing and turning. There's no need to just lying in bed and tossing and turning because if I'm up, I'm up. So
Yeah.
get out of bed, get my coffee started, get the TV.
I knew somebody like that. If they woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning, their day started. And I'm like,
And that's what my neighbor Tommy, that's what he said. She
I
said,
have to sleep.
if I'm up, I'm up,
Yeah.
what kind of early in the morning or whatever.
Not your sister. I could lay down. How many days a week is there? 7 days a week I could lay down at any juncture and go sound asleep.
Yeah, Daddy could do that. Mama could nap some. Of course, Mama worked nights at state school, so she slept during the day.
Right.
But I never could nap. Never could. I can't sleep during the day. I can't just lay down and get a couple hours sleep, at 2 or 3 o'clock. I never could do that. Daddy could do that. Daddy could be sitting in front of the TV. TV would be blaring or something like that, and he'd fall asleep. My friend Barry, who passed away a few years ago, he'd be sitting.
2 years ago.
We would be having a conversation. We would be in the middle of talking, and he would,
Yeah.
sitting up, just fall asleep. Just
I'm glad he didn't do it when he was driving.
like shutting a switch off. He could do that.
Yeah.
But I never could do that. I never could nap.
Well, Barry also worked graveyard, didn't he?
No, he didn't work. Yeah, he did. That's right. He did work graveyard. He sure did.
The last few years of his work.
Yeah, he worked nights. That is true. But and as far as what's going on, say in the news, well, we got Donald Trump running things again, and he's doing his thing. Whatever that is, he's doing his thing. And they announced the Academy Award nominations, and it's a bunch of movies I never heard of, except for Wicked. I heard of Wicked. But The Substance was nominated for Best Picture, which you folks out there that have seen The Substance, you will know how kind of surprising that is that movie was nominated for Best Picture.
Well, it's I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm interrupting you because I got a question. It's not a horror movie.
It's kind of a horror movie. Yeah, it's kind of a horror movie. There's a type of movie, David Cronenberg, the director David Cronenberg, particularly his earlier stuff, they called it body horror, where it was usually someone, that something was going on with their body,
Yeah.
And he made a bunch of movies called body horror, where, and of course The Fly,
The Fly. Okay,
his most successful film is The Fly.
Yeah.
We call that film body horror.
Okay, well that's what was confusing me a little bit. I'm thinking, what category?
Jeff Goldblum, he's slowly transforming into a fly throughout the movie. And with all that makeup and all that, that's called body horror. That's the type of movie they call body horror. Well, Substance,
is two little old ladies in aprons in the kitchen.
Huh.
Isn't that cool?
Where'd that come from?
Look at the cover. I think you'll get a kick out of the cover. Jumbo snapshots. And they're black and white snapshots from 1955.
Huh.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt you. I just read.
Anyway, the Substance could be termed a body horror film, where basically it's Demi Moore, and she's an aging actress. She has a fitness show that she's kicked off the fitness show because her manager says, "Look, you're over 50 now. You're too old. We got to find someone new and fresh and young and hot, And
Yeah.
so that's kind of the theme of the movie is, being sort of cast out because you're getting older, you're getting old, whatever.
Yeah, and it happens.
And particularly in the acting industry of just being just disposable. And so that's kind of the theme of the movie. But she meets this person that says, look, here's this place you can contact, and it's called The Substance.
Don't do it.
You get this package in the mail, and you get all this stuff, and there's syringes that you inject yourself with, and there's little packets of stuff for food. And basically, when you inject yourself with this substance, another version of you births from your back. A younger version of you, it emerges from your body. And of course, it's really gross and really, gruesome. What they call practical effects. It ain't a bunch of, computer stuff. It's actual physical, effects where her back splits open and this young version of her, a young girl, emerges from her back.
Yeah.
And there's rules now, kind of like with Gremlins.
Okay, I'm with you.
All that. Well, the rules of The Substance are every week you've got to trade back to your original self. And the way you do that is you take some sort of injection, from the syringe, and you inject it back into your original body, and then your duplicate falls asleep and goes into sort of a coma, and your original person lives their life for a week. Then you trade back to the duplicate once a week.
Yeah.
And those are do not forget this. The rule says, but you must trade back once a week. Well, the duplicate girl, who's real young and hot and pretty, really good actress that plays her too. I don't know her name, but she's really good too. She starts breaking the rules because she's enjoying. She gets famous with her, fitness.
Like, I ain't trading back.
So she doesn't trade back. Like she goes like 10, 11, 12 days. And if you do that, your original body starts to decay. And
yeah, I would say, don't you rot?
Starts to age and rot. And, you gain weight and, stuff starts, falling off of you and shit. Well, anyway, what Demi Moore goes through physically in this film is something to behold, because the makeup they do on her, particularly during the latter part of the film, is like, good God. And that's what's sort of surprising, that something like this is nominated for Best Picture. It's a really good movie, and it makes a really good point about aging and being sort of being sort of dismissed because you're too old for like acting or whatever. It makes a really good point, and it's a really good movie, but it is at many times it is gruesome as hell. it's like, ooh, good God, you're seeing some stuff that
hurry up, look away.
You got to get like, oh my God. So for that to be nominated for Best Picture is pretty cool. But it is, I guess you would say it's a horror movie.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You need to find out what category it's listed in. I would like to know that.
I call it body horror, and that's what
I mean. I know that's what you call it, but
a lot of people call it body horror.
But when it's up for all these awards, these
maybe they may call it a thriller, or what they call it, a horror film. It really is close to a horror film. And of course, Demi Moore won the Golden Globe for Best Actress. And a lot of times the winners of the Golden Globe go on to win the Oscar. Now she's up against the first transgender. I forget what the movie is. The first transgender is the girl that's from Wicked. And of course, they love to give the Oscar to people who sing and dance and shit, But I wouldn't be surprised if Demi Moore wins it, because she's been in Hollywood for,
40 plus years,
40 years or whatever. Real famous actress. She's so many movies she's made. And I think that's another thing the Oscars love to do, is to reward an actor or an actress that hasn't never won an Oscar before, it's like, okay, here's your Oscar to me. Here you go. You've been
Well,
with.
I mean, she deserves it for her body of work already.
She deserves it for the movie, I think. Anyway, it shouldn't be just something that she's just given. It's just like,
Right.
okay, to me, here's your Oscar. You've been.
No, it's got to go by her recent performance or
But
not.
I think she earns it. I think she earns it for the performance. So we'll see. Mystical, hey Mystical.
Hi,
So
Mystical.
Demi has no chance. You're right, Jay. She's up against the woke, insane Hollywood establishment. Well,
There you
we'll
I
see
don't know.
about that because, like I say, it's true enough that the Oscars tend to go for, the singers and the dancers and the younger crowd and all that, the woke crowd, like you said. But they also tend to do what I said they do is for actors that have never won an Oscar and they're aging and they're kind of, it's like old Hollywood. Okay, to me, here's your Oscar,
So she wouldn't want to win it because of that. She would not want to win it because of that.
Henry Fonda, when he was on Death's Door, he won the Oscar, for On Golden Pond, I think. And he was about to go. And of course, I don't know if he had ever won an Oscar before, but, it's like, not that he didn't earn it, but so I wouldn't be surprised if Demi wins it, even though, like you say, Akers, you don't think she has a chance because of the woke crowd and all that.
No, that Akers didn't say that. Mystical said that.
Rick,
Hi, Rick. Hello.
Hello. Hey, Rick.
What I was going to say is, ask you, I watch a lot of movies, right? Since when I live alone, since I do now, I enjoy hearing sound, just sound. And, I'm washing clothes or I'm hanging up clothes in the house, which I do. Sound. I watched a few months back The Mule, Mule, with Clint Eastwood. And, he's 92 now.
Yeah, and that was one of his later movies when it was one
Yes.
of his
Yes. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. Is it
You
good?
need to watch it. It's a good one.
Yeah, he just turned 92 years old. And goodness, yeah.
But anyway, I'm sure you saw El Camino, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this one is
my yard.
This one he shows true grit in it, Jack. I think you'll enjoy it. Okay.
Yeah. And Mystical says, I would and I did. What do you mean, Mystical? I would and I did. What do you mean by that?
I don't know. I would too, probably. I probably already did it myself.
I don't catch what you mean by that. And let's talk about David Lynch. Now that one hit me. Because I've been such a big fan of David Lynch through his whole career. I was going to North Texas State University, and they had a little movie theater at the Student Union building there. And so, I mean, I saw Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Song of the South, which is one of the, canceled movies you can't watch anymore. The Disney movie, you can't watch that anymore with Uncle Remus and all that. No, you can't watch
I forgot about that. Yeah.
But they won't show that movie anymore because it's racist and all that,
It's banned.
Zippity doo dah, but I saw, and there might have been one or two other people in the theater when I saw it, Eraserhead, and pretty much a nightmare on film. That's what that movie is. It's pretty much you take a nightmare, which nightmares usually don't make any sense. They're weird and whatever. And so Eraserhead is a nightmare on film. And shot in black and white. And of course, anyone that's a fan of David Lynch or a fan of Eraserhead, you know what kind of movie Eraserhead is. But I sat in this darkened theater and watched this movie, and it's just like, oh my God. It just, just went up my spine and just really unnerved me. But I wanted to seek out that director after seeing that movie. I said, what else has he done? That was his first actual feature film was Eraserhead, but I wanted to see anything he did after that. And so I became a big fan of him. Of course, he did Elephant Man. I think it might have been his second film, Elephant Man. I love the Elephant Man. Um, but there's so many movies he made, Blue Velvet, and so many classic films where he became not just a little like a cult director, he became a legitimate feature film director that was respected. And they gave him Dune, which that was Dune didn't turn out too well. But he became, with his mindset, very original mind that he had, this weird and fantasy and a lot of times frightening, but just a truly unique personality, a truly unique vision. No one else made movies like David Lynch. No one had a mind like David Lynch. And then, of course, Twin Peaks, which became a global sensation, became just a big deal to Twin Peaks. To go from Eraserhead to Twin Peaks, it showed, how successful he was able to be. And but anyway, to hear he passed away at 78. I think he was diagnosed with emphysema, like a few years ago, and he wasn't doing well, health wise. But and to hear him talk, hear David Lynch talk, he had that voice, and you had him doing the weather report, talking about, well, it's sunny in California, and it's going to be a nice day, and go to YouTube and look up his weather reports, where he would he did talk.
I loved them. I don't know why, but I did
too. Yeah, it was comforting to watch David Lynch.
Right, they resonated with me. I'm like, okay, I can see this.
Yeah. But and then the way he would talk, that kind of easy going, and just But anyway, I hated to hear that he passed away. Sure gonna miss David Lynch.
78, I think.
Yeah, 78. But yeah. So rest in peace, David Lynch. You were truly a unique person and unique mind. Because there's only a few directors, kind of like I mentioned, David Cronenberg, that a lot of directors have a style, that's unique to them, like Alfred Hitchcock or Brian De Palma or things like that. But there's few that are as unique and as singular as David Lynch was, where it's like truly an original mind, a unique mind that you can't hardly compare him to hardly anyone else. David Lynch. So yeah, rest in peace, David Lynch. And Mystical says, dudes running around thinking they're women. LGBT manual people running around wearing gays for Palestine. What's the world come to over the last 8 years? Well, Mystical, I'm not going to comment about that. Other than to say, there's the thought process is, and in my opinion is, everyone should do what makes them happy. Whatever, as long as you're not hurting anyone, if you're making yourself happy, you should do what that is, whatever that is. There's the other thought process is, well, particularly like, and Donald Trump's making a big deal about this, about transgenders participating in sports, events, women's sports events.
Well, I don't think that's fair.
Because physically, biologically, a man is going to be stronger, going to have more muscle, going to be, most of the time, going to be stronger than women. Now, if you consider yourself to be a woman now as a transgender, I have no problem with that. But the issue and when it becomes in like competitive sports, if you're competing in a women's event, particularly if it's something like running or whatever, weightlifting or anything that's physical, transgender participating in a woman's sport, well, um, is that fair or should that be considered fair?
Well, I don't think it is. But here's what President Trump was signing all those, whatever you call them, his first day or two, right? And when he said, the next 4 years, my administration is only going to recognize two sexes, a male and female. That's it. Well, I understand that. I mean, I understand it. But if somebody's already had the surgery and they want to be one sex or the other, and they went through the complete transformation, then yes, they should be able to say, now I'm a woman or now I'm a man, right? Even if that wasn't their birth, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's my opinion is that, whatever makes you feel comfortable with your life, whatever makes you happy, that's
Yeah.
what you should do. As long as you're not hurting anyone,
Yeah.
you should do
To each your own.
Yeah, exactly. But then you get into those issues like that, or public restrooms, and and competing in women's sports, things like that, where the conversation is like, well, now it's that now that's something I might have an opinion about because when you're competing in a woman's sport, that if you're biologically a man, even though you're transgender and consider yourself to be female, still physically you're a man.
Right.
You have the musculature of a man, you've got the physical strength of a man. So yeah. But that's all I'll say about that. But so okay, we talked about Demi Moore, talked about David Lynch. And I'll talk about the Akers had suggested about talking about 90s films, and I've got a list here I can refer to. But first, last week, I did a taste test of s'mores ramen. And I thought it was going to be disgusting, and I was correct in that assumption. It was repulsive. That kind of chocolatey sweet flavor mixed with ramen was not a good combination. But I've got something else I want to try. I thought doing a taste test thing could be sort of a part of the midday show, if I can find something kind of unique or a little different. So I've got, let me you go ahead and entertain them.
Oh, crap. Sorry, y'all. I said ugly word. I just looked down. My phone's like 23. I'm like, yeah, I might want to plug it right up on in a little bit here. And so I completely won't lose everybody. There we go. I looked down and I said, oh, crap, Jay, on your stream. I looked down. My phone was at 23. I said, I might need to plug it in, I say. So.
Uh-oh. We lost her. I guess she was plugging in or something. And I don't know. Hope she comes back. Hope you come back, sis. We lost you. But anyway, what I've got here is Sichuan inspired chicken. And I think, hang on just a second. There she is.
Sorry. I knew I was going to do that. I do it every stream. I don't know why that's new. What is it?
Sichuan inspired chicken. Now, what I don't understand is why is it Sichuan inspired? Why isn't it just Sichuan chicken? What's inspired about it?
It's fake.
Yeah, Sichuan inspired chicken.
Yeah, well, it's their version.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
And it is inspired by Gong Bao Ji Ding. And anyway, this is made with white meat chicken, rice, green beans, carrots, onions, and a spicy Szechuan inspired sauce. So
Yeah, their version of Sichuan.
I guess their version of Sichuan.
Are they? Is it noodles or frozen meal or?
Yeah, it's rice and chicken and some
No, I
vegetables.
mean, no. What I'm trying to get at is that did that come out of your freezer or is it like?
Yeah, it's frozen. It is frozen.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
And I'm looking at the instruction. Remove outer clear film and microwave for 3.5 minutes. Remove from microwave. Box may be hot and shake side to side 5 to 10 times.
Check.
And then put it back in the microwave for a minute 45 or a minute and a half minute or 1.5 minutes. So okay. So first I'm
They basically telling you to stir it up and then stick it back in there.
I'm supposed to shake it side to side. They're very specific about that.
Shake it sounds like 10 times. Shake.
5 to 10 times. So
yeah. So it's like a meal. It's not just like ramen noodles.
Yeah, I think it's when of course it's in a Chinese box. It's kind of like if you go to the Chinese restaurant, you get in a box.
So and you got to take home or order it. Yeah.
So, okay, so 3.5 minutes. So all right, be right back.
Well, that's good. That sounds good. Here's what I don't know. I got a question. I go to the food pantry. They gave me some hamburger meat with soy as the filler, because it's not going to be all hamburger meat. And I fixed a meal hamburger, patties with it and ate it one night. And I got horrible indigestion. And usually beef, hamburger meat doesn't do that to me. Beef, ground beef. But I was wondering if it might be that soy. They give me this hamburger meat up at it's beef is what it is. Ground beef in a, 1 pound roll. But the filler in it is soy. Okay. Well, I can fix a hamburger patty, flip it over till it's done. Slap it between bread, make me a sandwich out of it. And I've never had indigestion, but I thawed one out the other night and made some of them patties and cooked them real good and ate one. And I didn't put anything on it, I don't think, but a little mayo, and I had a piece of lettuce left from lunch. I slapped that on there and I had the worst indigestion. I wonder if it's that soy.
Well, I like soy sauce, but I use it kind of sparingly because it has a lot of sodium.
No, not sauce. I don't like soy sauce. There's none in my apartment. I don't like it at all. It's soy like tofu.
Okay. So it's more of a solid base.
I don't know. It's mixed with this hamburger meat.
Soy.
Oh,
okay. It's kind of like, I guess the veggie patties you buy and things like that are made out of soy.
But they're plant-based, aren't they?
Plant-based, veggie, what the veggie, I used to eat the veggie burgers and stuff like that. I haven't done that in a long time, but a lot of that's made out of soy. It may be. It could be something you're just sensitive to.
They're using it as they got the hamburger meat, but they're going to have to stick something with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you'll see 80 something, I don't know, there's two, but anyway, it's used as a filler to make sure that it makes more of it. In other words, so I don't know.
They had that Morningstar Farms stuff, and
I like the vegetarian, and I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan by no means, because I'm sorry, I'm gonna want me some bacon and a big old slab of steak if I could afford it. Somebody take me out to eat, I say, yeah, can I have a sirloin? But I really, really, really enjoyed the Amy's brand. They make vegetarian enchiladas, and I think they make burritos,
Yeah. See. Well, while I'm waiting for that to cook, Let me pull up something that we could talk about. Um, uh,
Oh, you got to go shake it 10 times and then turn it back on.
yeah, I'm gonna go do that. We'll go shake it.
Well, anyway, y'all, I've got the coolest cookbook, and I'll plug my channel while I'm on here. It might not be an interest to everybody. I got over 150 followers finally, and I've been going about six months now with it. And I don't have a scheduled time that I stream or put. Well, I don't stream. I record them and put them up, right? But anyway, it's called Texas Nana's Place, NANA' Place. So if you want to pop by and say hey. At the end of this month, I'm giving away a Amazon gift code. You got to follow my channel, and I put the number of people in my channel, the number right, into a random number pick. I just go to Google and look up one and stick the number in there, and whatever number it falls on, I send you a message, and you win. My first ever winner was several months ago. Then I've given away aprons and just fun stuff, I didn't have a drawing in December, but I started it this year again, and I'll have one every month. The codes are easy because I can just send you a message. You tell me how you want to get the code, right? And then I just send you the code. You go and you redeem it. So anyway, Texas Nana's Place. I figured I'd plug my channel while you stepped away.
Oh yeah, and because you do. You'll do stuff like you do pantry hauls and or stuff you get like at Goodwill,
thrift hauls, yeah,
thrift hauls, and sometimes you'll cook.
Yeah,
and so
yeah, just a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
But I just have fun. Oh, I have ghost stories on.
Oh yeah, the ghost stories.
Yeah, I have. It's very diverse, like my brain. I'm a random thinker. I share recipes. Usually none of my videos are more than about 25.
I'm going to bowl up this stuff here.
I was going to bowl it up. Okay. It's probably going to be good. I can't eat stuff like that very often because of the sodium, but I love it. Don't get me wrong. And then Monday, oh, my channel's not monetized and I don't plan on monetizing it. So I'm not trying to make any money. I just have fun. It's the first year in several years that I've lived alone, and I've been alone. I moved into my apartment in December 2024. So I love it here, but I thought, let me do something to entertain myself. And so when people will send me first person ghost stories, I don't think I have but 3 up. One is mine, and I didn't believe in it till it happened to me. And then I believe in it. And then, people will like, well, my email is, on my channel. You can find my email real easy. It's on the community page. But anyway, I just have a lot of fun, y'all. And I love thrifting. So every chance I get, I go thrifting. But I don't have a car, so I have to go when I can go. So usually it's a first of the month, and when the weather's pretty, I'm about a little over a quarter of a mile from a thrift store. I'll just hoof it up there and find stuff that I need.
Okay, so here is the Sichuan inspired chicken, and we lost Kathy again there. But anyway, there we go. Sichuan inspired chicken. And you see there's rice, and there's chicken in there, and veggies, and you lost this again. Hang on, hang on. There she is.
I can't help it. I moved my phone and it cuts. So you got a good amount of rice. Is that what's in there?
It's rice and chicken and like carrots and green beans and stuff. So anyway,
yeah.
So let's try. I don't know. I've ever tried Szechuan before or Szechuan inspired. So I'm gonna get a piece of this chicken here.
Well, my daughter and son-in-law, April and Darren, they love all kinds of Asian food. He even loves Indian food. And we took him just to an Indian restaurant right after they first started dating for his birthday. David and I took him up there. And it was good food. It was real good food. Give me some vegetable-based stuff. I do pretty good. Throw in a little orange chicken or sesame chicken, or you look like you like it.
Yeah. Let me get a little of this rice and carrots. And
He didn't bring enough for the class, y'all. Dang, you acted like that was hard work. Let me get it in there. Oh my God, I have to. It's heavy. You lift weights, dude. Come on.
Hot.
Oh, that's what it is. Oh, he's got water. I always ask him before he's going to eat something, y'all, or drink something weird. I'll say, "You got water?"
Yeah, let me pour me some more.
Yeah, there you go. You got to have water now, y'all. I drink a lot of water. This, look, see this? Isn't that beautiful? I wish it was Jack Daniels. It's not. It's tea. I drink a lot of iced tea.
Well, now it's a little spicy. It's not overly spicy, but there's definitely some heat sort of in the back.
Yeah.
And it hits the back of the throat. Little spice, a little sweetness. There's almost like a sort of a honey sweetness.
Yeah, might be.
So Sichuan, I don't know, but this is Sichuan inspired.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I've ever eaten Sichuan before. But they give you a generous amount of, here's a chicken to give you.
And the chicken is not rubbery or hard or it's good chicken.
It's chewy, but it's
yeah.
It's tender.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I quite like it. It's this would be good for like now for like lunchtime. That's not real heavy.
You're right.
But it's satisfying.
I eat one big meal a day, and it's usually Meals on Wheels. Like yesterday, they brought me chili with sprinkled cheese on top of it, and some cauliflower and broccoli mixed vegetables, and then this about this big around. It's a generic brand, but it reminded me of a Twinkie. Huh. And it was good. I eat all that for lunch. See, it comes sometimes too early, but they'll come at 10:30. I'm just finishing coffee, y'all. I don't like to, I stay up till 12, 1 o'clock. So, I don't like to get
what I'm getting, I cook them in my air fryer. And basically they're burritos. They look like burritos, but it's got egg and bacon and sausage and cheese in it. So it's kind of a breakfast burrito. But yeah. I eat them at night or in the evening. I eat them for.
Well, what you need to do is show the packaging sometime on here. So some of the rest of us that don't have them might want to get us some. That's what I do on my channel, y'all. I talk food and I talk recipes. I do a lot of from scratch stuff. And I'll either show you, look, this is a Milky Way cake I made. Or I'll show you, look, these are the muffins I made. They're not that big. And here's the recipes.
I never did get a piece of that Milky Way cake.
Well, it was mailed and it cost me almost $8 to mail it. So, and it was mailed. Oh, look, meat lovers.
Yeah, meat lovers. And this is egg, sausage, bacon, and cheese burrito.
It went out towards the end, Jay, of like the 28th, 29th of December. So maybe it just hadn't got to you for some reason.
All right. But anyway, yeah, this is the store brand, great value. But anyway, yeah, I put a couple
meat lovers.
A couple of these in the air fryer, and then I get like a little bit of like ranch dressing, maybe to dip it in, or some salsa or something like that. But anyway, yeah, good. It's kind of a breakfast burrito, although I eat them at night.
Yeah. So. Well, that looks good. I might have to give me some of that because I shop Walmart Plus. And because I'm on Snap, I get a half price because I wasn't going to pay. For the longest, I wouldn't order from them because I'm like, until Jay told me, if you have SNAP, you can get it half price. Just got to put your stuff in there.
Oh.
So that's nice. Oh, one thing they're talking about Social Security, Jay, they may just do away with the cost of living. We got like two point some odd this time, increases, yearly increase. And I'm thinking, go ahead. It's not that big of an impact on us that we get, most years anyway. And they say if they take that away, in 2034, Social Security will run out of money unless they make some moves. They're going to have to. And they're looking at increasing the retirement age. I don't know, 60, I think it's 67, and they're looking to increase it to 69. And that'll help, also. Because they're about to, if they do what Trump says they're going to do, they're about to deport a lot of people that pay taxes. And so they're going to have to do something drastic to save Social Security. And I'm thinking, y'all can have my cost of living. I'll give it back to you. You know what I'm saying, Jay? It don't impact us that much. I mean, it's kind of nice, but, and I became disabled at 58 because of those car wrecks I was in. So I can't work anyway. I just physically can't work. And that's okay. That's cool. But anyway, I'd like to supplement my income, but I don't want to affect my rent. Being an income-based apartment, the government looks at every penny you get, you make, you earn, you whatever, and all of my income for several years is non-taxable. So I ain't going to be rocking no boats, baby. Not when I have the rent that I pay now. It's so low. My electric bill can be more than my rent because it goes by my Social Security check, which is fine as wine. I'm so happy I got a nice 4-room.
I paid my electric bill today, and a little over $38. When people
Your electric bill?
A little over $38.
Dang.
So
my last one was $60. But I bet it won't be now.
But I have an outside night light, and that's like $13. And so I think it came out to about $60 all in for everything I paid for.
Okay.
So yeah,
because I'm thinking $30-something for a total electric bill seems awful.
For just the house was $38 and some cents.
Yeah.
And but anyway, got that paid, got my bills paid, and
this time of month I got my bills paid. I don't got a whole lot left in my checking account, but it's okay. I ain't mad. And my $75 cable, Wi-Fi, it's not cable. I don't have cable. I got Wi-Fi. But my Optimum provider, they're going to take that $75 off before my Social Security check hits every month. So I got to be sure I leave that little extra money in there. So I leave a little over $100 in there because I do have 2 checking accounts, and I transfer money into the other one, what little bit I can every month to save. Try to save a little bit and let it add up just in case. I figured if I have enough to cover my rent and my utilities, all 3 of them, because I have gas, electric, and Wi-Fi, then if something was bizarre happened to Social Security check some month, which it never has since I went on it, they put me on it at 58. I went to court to get my disability, and I got my back pay and everything. And when I got back from taking a little small 3-4 day trip, I had a Social Security card waiting on me. I mean, no, Medicaid. No, I can't get Medicaid. I get too much Social Security. Medicare card waiting on me. I'm like, what the heck is this? So I called my attorney's office and his paralegal said, "Oh yeah, Miss Bradshaw, since you're disabled, we went ahead and got you on Medicare." I said, "Well, I appreciate it. Of course, I always carry some kind of insurance on myself anyway, but and it is a supplement. They say your health insurance that you take out, the Advantage programs, which I have with United, is a Medicare Advantage program, and it is because Medicare I don't pay hardly nothing, and I just have Medicare part of my health insurance for the prescriptions. But I've been with that company for several years, and none of them are great, but it's the best one I've run across. Look, he's just eating good food.
Yeah, this is good.
It does look good.
It's not heavy. It's light, but satisfying.
I got some.
It's just a little spicy though. It's got some heat to it.
I got some eggshells, and I'm thinking about they're supposed to be able to use them in your plants outside to help your plants outside. So I'm thinking what I ought to do is stick them in a bag, stick them in my refrigerator, and try to figure out how to, when I get ready to put my house plants, I got some that are indoor, outdoor that go back out, because I tell you what, just initially buying plants for my porch a year ago, I paid $50. And it was I didn't get nothing exotic. But anyway, I'm thinking I might be able to use these shells. I got to look them up. I don't have a garden. I don't have a place for a garden. And here's the deal. I don't mind. I was thinking about making me, buy me a little bit of seeds and on my porch, plant something, in a container. In other words, on the porch. But then you got to worry about the pest. I ain't dealing with all that.
Well, do you want to speak about a recent pest you've been dealing with?
Nope. You don't know. I'm real bitter and worried. Okay. I'm bitter and worried, folks. I got silverfish in my house. Okay, I don't. I got them in my kitchen. So far, I only saw one where there's probably millions, but I only saw one. And I don't keep a bunch of boxes. But anyway, yesterday was really, really hard on me because not for last, I saw one on my counter and I freaked out. I got a picture of him. He stood there proudly, see me? And I got a picture of him. And I do lease. So I will call the office Monday, tomorrow, and tell them, hey, what do y'all suggest? Because apparently it's very expensive. And it took them 3 months to come in here because I had a mouse problem. No, not a problem. I could tell it was just one. Well, I called him, got rid of him myself. And they finally come in. Oh, we need to spray. And I said, no, I done got rid of the mouse, but these water bugs are irritating. So they sprayed for them and seen the area one. But this silverfish, y'all, it's something else. But anyway, I've got the little traps. They don't like cinnamon. Girls and boys, my whole kitchen smells like a cinnamon factory. I put little containers out of cinnamon everywhere. I wanted to tour them so they won't be, but I got all my packaged food out of the pantry yesterday, and I cleared out the pantry, wiped down the shelves and everything, and didn't see any signs of them up in the pantry. They don't fly, but they can, get in your walls. Now I don't have any wallpaper. I tell you, y'all, it's a nightmare just to see one. But keep me in your bug prayers that they decide that they just would rather go to heaven than live with me, because I'm gonna do everything I can to get rid of these suckers.
Well, they way back in the sort of mid to late 90s, I had a used bookstore in town in Bahia. And that's where I would see Silverfish. They like hardback, they like books, they like paper. And usually it was hardback books. If I was going to find a silverfish, it was going to be in a hardback book. You can see them crawling along the spine inside the book. So
I'd probably have a heart attack.
Uh,
I'd kill it myself, just fall over. I only saw this one in the kitchen now.
But anyway, let's talk a little bit about, and I think the 90s were the last decade where we had what I would consider truly great movies. We've had some good ones in the 2000s. There's been some really good movies, but I think the 90s was the last decade where we had anything that I would consider classics. I don't know. What has changed? Well, people don't take as big of risks anymore. There's not as many, innovative directors coming up. There's still some really good ones. There's still some really good movies made, and there's still some really good directors coming up. But for me, the 90s were kind of like the last decade where there were movies I would truly consider classics. And the 90s. And it was acres of movies that suggested that we talk about 90s films. And if I talk to her anytime soon, we can do that again, talk about 90s movies. But I thought I'd bring up a few. I've got a list here, IMDb's top 100. We're not going to go through the list really, in any kind of order. I'm just going to pick some movies out sort of randomly. And I'll start with one that I think Kathy can talk about because she's a big fan of it too. That came out in 1993, and that is Dazed and Confused. And of course, there's Richard Linklater directed, and Jason London, Wiley Wiggins, and of course, all right, Matthew McConaughey. Was it his first film?
Yes. That was his debut.
Yeah. And it's like that's the first thing he says, isn't it? All right.
Well, no, that's not the first thing he says. I mean, he has some talking, he has some, what do you call it? Talks, scripts and stuff. But that's the one that he said really resonated with people. I am a huge McConaughey fan. He is a professor in a city about 25 miles from where I live. And so he wrote a book called Greenlight, which is, been a bestseller for a long time. It was hardback, came out paperback. And it's everything he's kind of learned throughout his career and life skills and stuff. And somebody asked him where that came from. All right. And he said, well, I was a teenager living in Uvalde with my mom and my dad, my brothers. I think he had two brothers. I know he had one, Rooster. But anyway, he said he was listening to The Doors, and in between songs, Jim Morrison said, all right. Well, he had to go up for this screenshot to see if he's going to make this movie or not, Dazed and Confused, be able to be picked for it. He said, of course, it went through the high schools like wildfire. Y'all are going to be making this movie. They're going to make this movie. You need to go test for it. So McConaughey was pretending like he's driving his car, and him and I can't remember the other character in the back seat. And he said, well, Watterson, what do you think? What do you think about the freshman class or something like that? I can't remember exactly how it went, but anyway, McConaughey said, all right. He did it 3 times. He said, it just come to my mind. So I did it 3 times. He said, and that was the first movie that basically Linklater launched his career being in that movie.
Yeah. Well, and he had made a few other movies before. I really like Slacker. Might have been his first movie, Slacker. I really like Slacker. But That's certainly a movie I know you can relate to. Is High School in the 70s.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
it's really authentic. It feels really real and authentic. Of course, I wasn't in high school in the 70s, but I remember the 70s. I remember growing up in the 70s. And just the atmosphere and everything seems really authentic in Dazed and Confused. It feels real. It feels like it was made in the 70s. It feels,
Yeah.
it captures the feel of you know,
Yeah.
of high school in the 70s.
And now for the boys calling each other out of class, no, we in my high school we didn't have you didn't just get up and walk out of class and not get in trouble because that's when they're still paddling. Now they didn't paddle that much in high school, but if you might get by with it once, but you don't keep doing that. Come on, come
I
on.
only had that done one time, and in our school we called it licks. You got licks. um, and what did I get licked for? I got licked. I was supposed to, because for talking in class, I was supposed to write 100 sentences. I will not talk in class, something like that, and I
Yeah.
didn't do it. And for that, I got 3 paddles.
Yeah.
And it was hard. It was like abusive. It was too hard.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I literally had bruises on my ass, from that.
I
And
never know
they
that you
don't
got
do that
licked.
anymore. It's what they call capital punishment or something like that. They probably should bring it back.
Yeah.
but
But if we weren't in school, after school, when you get in your car to head home, yes, you're smoking pot. I smoked a lot of marijuana back in the 70s because as they showed, it was commonplace, my friend. I'm sorry. Probably why my lungs are messed up now. I think the severe asthma didn't help and being around some chickens didn't help. But it had to be one of the contributing factors to why I have lung issues at 68. But it was just, now, did everybody smoke pot? No, a lot of people didn't. But if they didn't, they probably didn't. You didn't know it. You know what I'm saying? They didn't.
Of course, Cheech and Chong was so popular during that time. So, you knew of its existence. You knew about, if you didn't smoke it, you knew about it, and then you knew. And of course, Cheech and Chong made that so famous, with their movies and their comedy albums and stuff. So I knew even as a 6-7-year-old, I knew it existed. And of course you had, Cheech and Chong albums on 8-track tape that, you'd let me listen to with you in your room, and you'd play me some Cheech and Chong stuff. So I knew what it was. And there was one time, a bunch of damn teenagers were busted there at the marina my dad, ran. And then, and they got a talking to. They didn't get arrested, but they got a talking to. Old Buddy Taylor came and sat them down on the grass. And they were all stoned out of their head, the long hair and all that looked like they come out of Woodstock. And yeah.
So it was just like, we weren't really drinkers. I ran around. I don't know. There was 6, 7 of us that ran around together. The boys I dated, 1 or 2, and then no, not everybody did it.
What is the line? And I know I don't have the complete line right, but it's that McConaughey says in Days Confused. There's this kid that's riding in the car with him, that's kind of getting,
indoctrinated
into the fold, and he says, you got any pot or something like that? No, I don't have it. Is that okay? Yeah, it's okay, but it'd be really cool if you did.
Yeah.
Something I forget what the black line is.
Well, that's real close to it. Yeah.
It's okay if you don't, but it'd be really cool if you did.
I like it when they're all going to go out to the moon tower because they're going to this guy's house and there's going to be a big party. Well, his parents busted them. They were going to go out of town. He said, I'm going to have this big party, and they's all going to go to this guy's house and have this big beer party. They even showed up with kegs, and he had to go out there. You got the wrong address. He said, no. He said, yes, sir, you do. And his dad and mom standing behind him going, yeah. But anyway, they were going to the moon tower, which literally are these big lights up on this big tower, right? And it was it was out of town, in other words, and that's where they moved the party to. Well, McConaughey goes to, it looked like a Sonic back in the day. I think it's called Top Hat. It's still there in Austin, this drive thing. Kids would go and get food and drive around, talk to each other. And he pulled up on this little redheaded chick in a car with a couple of, with a couple of friends. And he said, he said, you need to go to the moon tower. He said, you heard the soiree has been, is no longer. And she said, yeah, I heard that. He said, well, it's been moved to the moon tower. There'll be kegs. There'll be, anything you want pretty much will be out there. And she's in the driver's seat of this vehicle, right? And she's cutest little redhead you ever seen. And he said, yeah. He said, you ought to get out of the car with them guys and come on over here and get in the car with me. We'll go out there. And she said, I got my own car. He said, well, I understand. Okay, that's all right. But you're coming out there, aren't you? And she said, yeah, I'll come out there. She was, Now, see, Wooderson had already been graduated a year, and he was McConaughey, and he was working for the city, so he had a job. And so, but anyway, they all go out to the moon tower, and everybody's partying and coupling off and partying, having a good time, and fighting. I mean, it's a typical 70s. What we used to do is bonfire parties. So it's not, out in the middle of nowhere, because we lived in a small town, and somebody out in the country always had land. Yeah, we'll go do bonfire at so-and-so's. Okay. And that's where a lot of us went, But anyway, it was a fun time. And it was a time of high school where I didn't have a curfew. My mother worked overnight. My dad just said, beat your mom home. So my curfew was like 6:00 in the morning. She got home at 7. So I didn't have a curfew. My daddy said, I don't believe in it. You're old enough to go out and date. You're old enough to get home, But we weren't big drinkers, but we did a little herb smoking.
And the other thing that I don't know if that's anything that went on when you were in high school is, speaking of paddling, is kind of like, breaking in the freshmen, with the paddles, and you got that guy. Well, he's got to break them in. We got to break in the freshmen with the paddles,
chasing down the freshmen. Huh?
Yeah, getting them paddles. And I don't remember anything like that going on.
No, I don't remember anything like that. And the girls were, where they, get out there and squirt stuff all over them and make them flop like fishes and all that mess. Yeah. I never knew of anything like that. Mine went on. I don't know. It didn't go on. They didn't bother me if it did. And I was always on the drag, you see. I had friends that were in a grade or two hired me always, right? So I was always in town on the drag. So something like that went on. I would have known about it.
But okay, well, anyway, and like I say, I'm just skipping around. I'm just going to name a few here from the 90s, because like I say, if I talk to Akers, then I'll get into some more detail, about, because that's something that she had suggested talking about. But I guess she's busy today with the cattle and such, or the horses. But here's another one. I consider it sort of a modern classic. And, of course, Kathy and I are fans of the Landman show with Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah.
And I had seen him in a few movies. I knew of him, Billy Bob Thornton, and had seen him, before. But the movie, and I went to the theater, I think, with my friend Barry to see it. And this was, I like them French fried potatoes. Mm-hmm. Sling Blade. And, Carl Childers. Yeah, I love the movie. He directed, he wrote it, he directed it. Billy Bob Thornton, of course, he stars as Carl, um, and the country singer Dwight Yoakam uh, that plays this bastard. Carl becomes friends with this kid, and so there or the kid's mother lets Carl live in the garage there at the house because the kid is so attached to Carl, becomes such good friends with him. And so he's able to stay there at their house in the garage, stay in the garage. He gets a job working on engines and stuff at this, local place, working on lawnmowers and chainsaws and things like that.
And
And
he was mentally
he's
challenged.
mentally challenged. Well, as a kid, he had murdered his mother and the man she was sleeping with. Wasn't her father? Wasn't his father?
Right.
And caught them, and getting together, and he took. Well, some folks call it a Kaiser blade. I call it a sling blade, and
I love that.
it's a wood. It's got a wooden handle. It's got a curved blade. Kind of looks like a banana.
And they used it for cutting wheat.
It's what the road man used to cut weeds, whatever. And he killed his mother and killed her lover with the sling blade, and was sent to a mental hospital where he spent 20 years or whatever. But they've released him. They've let him out of the mental hospital. So he goes back to his hometown. He don't know what he's going to do. He's got no place to live. His father's still alive. Robert Duvall played his father.
I
And
barely remember that. Yeah.
his father is basically just sitting in his home, doesn't hardly talks. He's just sort of wasting away. His father was abusive to him when he was a kid because he's this little, retarded boy, and was abusive to him, made him sleep out in a shed and a hole in the ground and stuff, so when Carl comes home and gets him a job, and they let him sleep where he works. They built him a little place in a shed there. They give him a little bed and all that. But this woman, her son gets so attached to Carl, they let Carl stay in the garage there at their house. And old Dwight Yoakam is this mother's boyfriend, and he's a piece of shit. He's abusive. He's just no good. And so, considering what Carl has done as a kid and being so attached to this little boy, and seeing what the future is going to bring for the boy and his mother if they continue with this asshole Dwight Yoakam, Carl takes things into his own hands, and for them to have a better life. And so you see at the end of the movie, old Carl comes in and he's got a lawnmower blade in his hand, and old Dwight Yoakam's by himself in the house. They've gone off. The mother and the boy are off, so he's there by himself in this house. He's drunk, Dwight Yoakam, and Carl sits down beside him. What's the number for the police? He said, well, what's the number for the ambulance? And he's like, what do you want to know that? And he sees that lawnmower blade in his hand. What you gonna do with that lawnmower blade? I aim to kill you with it. Then he straightens up. Well, the number for the ambulance is 911, and might as well call a hearse too while you're at it. Carl kills him with that lawnmower blade. And anyway, just a really good character the characterization of Carl is really good. He talks in that he only really speaks when spoken to. He didn't say much. Talks in that he's got an underbutt like that, but this underbutt. He talks like that in that low kind of gravelly voice, and he eats potted meat sandwiches, and he likes French fried potatoes.
Heck yeah, I like them too.
French fried potatoes with mustard. He doesn't eat it with ketchup.
I don't need mustard.
And he likes biscuits. He likes biscuits with mustard. Biscuits with mustard. But anyway, Carl. But anyway, I think it's a great movie. I think it's kind of a modern classic, Sling Blade. One, like I say, one of the last sort of classics. I'll go back and I'll watch Sling Blade like once every other year. I'll watch Sling Blade. I love Sling Blade.
Yeah.
And Billy Bob Thornton in that. And Sean said Kaiser Blade. Dwight Yoakam plays evil very well. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was an asshole. Yeah. Abusive, very abusive.
Even though it is like Carl is like, he's got some mental issues. He's slow. He's more childlike. And it's like, well, he's already killed, as a kid. He doesn't want to kill again,
But he don't see no use in him.
Because
there's no use in that in Dwight,
Before he gets out of the hospital, he's interviewed, by this little girl's doing an interview for her school, doing interviewing Carl, and then at one point he tells the story about killing his mother and her boyfriend or the one she was sleeping with, and then the girl says, will you kill again, Carl? And he thinks, I don't reckon I got a reason to kill nobody.
There you go.
He tells the truth. He just tells it like it is. There's he doesn't know how to make anything up. He doesn't have any kind of imagination. He just tells it like it is. I don't reckon I got a reason to kill anybody. But he finds a reason to kill somebody.
Yeah.
With Dwight Yoakam.
One is presented.
Yeah, he just does what he thinks needs to be done. Because, if things go on with Dwight Yoakam, they're going to have a miserable life. Because he's abusive. He says, I'll kill you. If you try to leave me, I'll kill you, says to the mother,
Yeah.
And like, well, okay. He needs killing. So, that's the way he is. He's simple. He just does things that he thinks need to be done, and fixing the lawnmowers or whatever, or killing Dwight Yoakam. He just needs to be killed. And that's the only thing that can be done so this family can have a happy life. He needs to be taken out of the picture. So, but yeah, I love Sling Blade. Kind of, it wouldn't did. Like I say, I knew of Billy Bob Thornton, but that was what I think, you stood up and took notice after that movie. What more was he going to do, So, okay, and that was, Sling Blade was 1996. Here's another one that a lot of people consider a classic. This is 1994, and I like it, but I think it's just a little too overwritten or something. Anyway, it's Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks. And that's about all I got to say about that. There, once again, we get someone that's kind of simple, kind of like Carl and Sling Blade. We get someone that's kind of, I don't know if you could say he's retarded, but he's kind of simple.
Yeah, and we don't really use the word retarded.
We don't say retarded. Yeah, you can say retarded.
We say, mentally challenged.
Mentally challenged, whatever. But yeah, the Forrest Gump, he's kind of slow-witted, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And I really do like Sling Blade. It's really well made. It's really well shot. And
are you talking about Forrest Gump or Sling Blade?
Forrest Gump.
Robert
Zemeckis, he made a lot of, great, Back to the Future and You know, a lot of great movies. Robert Zemeckis. Um, he's worked with. He did a movie last year with Robert Zemeckis, Tom Hanks. I forget the name of it, Home or something like that. Um, but uh, yeah, I like Forrest Gump. I just think maybe it was just a little too, I don't know, a little too overwritten or just a little too heightened or something. I don't know how to explain it. I do like it, but I don't hold it as high regard as a lot of people do. That they,
Now, scale of 1 to 5, I'd give it a solid 4.
yeah, I get it like 3, but I probably would give it a 4 out of 5. And it covers, Forrest Gump meets everybody. He meets JFK, and he meets all these famous people.
And he invented the smiley face,
And yeah, he what was it?
or inspired it. I don't think he was the one that's supposed to have been inventing it in the movie, but
What
he
was it?
inspired it.
The term "shit happens." He got that, and but yeah,
And
I
it's
do.
just a box of chocolates.
Yeah, life's like a box of chocolates. But yeah, I like Forrest Gump. And Mystical says, Jay, just curious, did you read a lot when you were younger? Um, well, yeah, I don't know if I read a lot. I became a big fan of Stephen King really early on. When I was in high school, I became a fan of Stephen King. Um, and of course, seeing Carrie at the drive-in and such as that, being introduced to him, really early on in like the mid 70s. So I would read a lot of Stephen King novels and such. My issue has always been I'm really, really nearsighted, so I have to just basically bury my face into a book to read it. And it's gotten more so the older that I've gotten, and it's still Stephen King. That's the main thing I read. I'm going to read is going to be Stephen King.
He's got a new one out, a new movie coming out. There's a picture of him beside the billboard for it, and I can't remember. I'm trying to think Bug, but I don't know if that's it or not.
Huh.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Forrest Gump. There's a separate list. Back when I was going to do another show with Noah, before he was having he's still dealing with some physical issues. Noah is, but I was going to do what's just the top 100 movies, and it might have been a top 100 or top 50 movies or something like that. The IMDb came out, and this was number 1 on the list. I think The Godfather was number 2, and this was number 1. And I really, really, speaking of Stephen King, The Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, it should have been. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And this was number 1 on that list. Frank Darabont, and of course Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman, and a banker convicted of uxoricide. He supposedly killed his wife and her lover. He didn't do it. Forms a friendship over a quarter century with a hardened convict while maintaining his innocence and trying to remain hopeful through simple compassion. Great movie. This is a movie that if you're able to see it in a movie theater, it's a movie theater movie.
Yeah, it really is.
That if you're able to see it on the biggest screen you can see it on.
I watched Schindler's List at the movie theater for that very reason.
I watched that recently, Schindler's List.
It's more impactful on a big screen. Some movies are.
The Shawshank Redemption is one of those big screen movies that
Yeah.
Watch it on the biggest screen you can, because it's really it's a wide scope. It's a prison movie. It takes place in prison. And it shows kind of like with Stand By Me and Misery, particularly Stand By Me, that Stephen King wasn't just a straight horror writer, that he could write great characters. Stephen King, even in his horror stuff, he knows how to write characters, how to write human beings.
Yeah.
He's great at that.
Character development, and he makes you care about them.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or ugly,
Yeah. And he knows how to he's great at writing women. He knows how to write women, kind of like with Misery. But like with Stand By Me, which is based on a short story, The Body, but Stand By Me. But Shawshank Redemption is another one that shows what he can do as just a really good story about human beings and people, with their struggles, And you got what Tim Robbins is a wrongly convicted murderer, and what is it, 20, 30 years or whatever that he's in this prison, and then Morgan Freeman being his friend in prison. Just two great performances, a great film, in a wide scope film, just like it's a big movie, Shawshank Redemption, and shows what Stephen King can do, writing just really strong characters and a really strong story. And then with the same director a few years later, The Green Mile,
that was excellent
with Tom Hanks. And
so sad, but it was good.
Another Stephen King story that isn't really a horror movie, but really strong characters, strong movie. And Mystical says, I can tell, I've watched several of your videos, past and present, and I can tell that you're very articulate with a broad vocabulary. Just an observation. Well, thank you, Mystical.
Oh, that's very nice.
People who grow up reading more than they do watching television are almost always better speakers and communicate very well.
Well, now he is telling you a story, because when he was 6 years old, my dad bought Childcraft Encyclopedia for me and the Childcraft children's version for him. And he was just barely making out the alphabet and learning a few words. And he had his face stuck in those books, y'all, hours on end. And I was working about, distance forgives me, a couple of football fields away was managing this big marina. And I was a teenager, so I'd have to go over there and help Daddy. It wasn't, do you want to, is get over there and help your dad, right? Because so I would run the store and he'd work on motors and stuff, outboard motors. But anyway, I would leave at 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday. Jay's in front of the TV watching cartoons and eating his cereal. And then I'd go over there about 11 o'clock to get me something to eat. And he's sitting there with a Childcraft. That's what they were called, Childcraft Encyclopedia.
I still have a few left.
Right.
I found,
so yes, he's been reading his whole little life nearly, because mother.
But also I appreciate that, Mystical, you saying that, but I also watched a lot of TV. You said to people that read more than watching TV. Well, I probably watched as much TV as I did reading, if not more. So
well, yeah, but
a lot of TV. Yeah,
but you started reading more as an adult, right? Is what you're saying.
But well, yeah, and like you said, the Childcraft books,
yeah. So he was exposed to reading at a very young age and loved it.
Yeah.
And he would bring the book to me, and I'd say, "Okay, what do you want me to read?" And Mom would say, "No, he wants to read to you." And so you go crawl up my bed with me. We'd open the book, and you would read 4 or 5 sentences, and then you'd get stopped, and you'd go, "That's all I've learned." You want me to read the rest of the paragraph? No, I'm going to learn it. And you wouldn't let me. You didn't want me to read to you. I said, well, can I read it so I'll know what happens next? It's usually about some animal, where they lived and what they ate and their habitat and everything.
I'll tell you what I loved as a kid, anything with dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I love dinosaurs. And any kind of stories about dinosaurs, any kind of movie that had dinosaurs, those stop motion dinosaurs. I loved any of those dinosaur movies. The TV series Land of the Lost. I love that.
Oh, yeah. Mutual of Omaha, Wild Kingdom. We watched that as a family. That's critters.
Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Yeah.
But yeah. And of course, coming home from school, first thing I did was sat. I got a weird way I sit. I sit with my legs
Like a little frog.
this way. That's because it's hard for me to sit like most people sit. It's hard for me to do that. So I sit with my legs this way. Yeah. And there's people that see me doing that. Good God, that don't hurt. How do you do that? But that's how I see it this way. And I sit in front of the TV, and first thing comes on with 3:00, 3:30, Sesame Street. Sesame Street. Gotta watch Sesame Street. And there was Sesame Street, The Electric Company, and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Well, had Captain Kangaroo quit?
And Captain Kangaroo. Yeah, Captain Kangaroo.
Okay. I was wondering.
And then we had a local guy that out of Dallas called Mr. Peppermint. Yeah. And he wore a suit with white with red stripes, and he had a top hat with red stripes, and he was Mr. Peppermint. And it was a children's show, but he was local. He was out of Dallas. I think he filmed his show out of Dallas. So not everybody saw Mr. Peppermint. And
he had little puppets and stuff.
He had puppets, and but Mr. Peppermint. And interesting thing about Mr. Peppermint is his name was Jerry Haynes. I met him in person because he was in a play at North Texas when I was in North Texas. He was in a play, so I got to meet Mr. Peppermint, Jerry Haynes, and his son was Gibby Haynes, the lead singer of the Butthole Surfers.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that's something you never did hear him talk about that, because I don't know if he was ashamed of it or if they, or whatever. But yeah, Gibby Haynes, the lead singer of the Butthole Surfers,
that's cool,
was Mr. Peppermint's son. And he made a few movies. He's in RoboCop. He's the one that brings out who's that robot, that walking robot. He wheels it out. That's Jerry Haynes. That's Mr. Peppermint.
Oh, good.
And he's in was it Places in the Heart? He's in that real quick. He was in a few movies in small roles. Usually.
Yeah.
I love having a line or two, but yeah, Jerry.
Hey, that's enough to get paid.
Yeah, Mr. Peppermint. But yeah, the Sesame Street, Electric Company, Mr. Rogers, Mr. Peppermint, Captain Kangaroo, and then we had a show where it was a woman with puppets called Kukla, Fran, and Ollie.
Ollie, yeah.
Kukla, Fran, and Ollie.
Yep.
And and then there was Zoom, which was another children's show that I really liked. Zoom. And let's see. Okay. That's the thing with kids and social media today. So many kids and young adults grow up today not loving books. They've spent hours online gaming, etc. Or with their faces.
Well, I got a caveat to that. I have a grandson, John. He's 11. He loves books. He read all the Wimpy ones. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. He read all of those. And he's moved on to 2 or 3 other different series, and he reads them and he collects them, right? And his sister, he's got her, he's her library sometimes. So he's got a thing hanging on the wall, and he pull out the paperwork and write what the name of the book was and the date that she borrows it. He loves graphic novels, but I've seen him read just novels, right? So he loves to read, and you'll catch him. Yeah, he's gaming. He's doing Fortnite. And he had to get a little. He wasn't able to play that till he was 11. And mom and dad monitor real closely their social media and all that. But he loves to read, man. He'll disappear. Okay, I'll go to visit around Thanksgiving and stay 4 days with him, and he would say, "Okay, Nana, I'm going to go to my room and chill." And I say, "Oh, you're going to game?" "No, I'm going to read." Now, Dot, his little sister, is 10. Yeah, she cut it close, didn't she? Their mom having them. But anyway, Dot loves to read. Now, for several years when they were little coming up, every night, Mom and Dad would take turns reading to them. And when I was living there, I would read to them. I have this issue with my lungs. The more I talk, the more I cough. So, it was kind of hard for me to get through reading to them. But we would read to them before they'd go to sleep, because we learned years and years before they were ever thought of that if you read to children, they will become a lover of books. And both of them have their own collection. Dot loves to read, but she's not as much of a reader appreciation of books as her brother. John, he will just devour books. Man, we all take turns buying them for him, right? And you can't, I tell you what, I make sure there's money on my Amazon account in case, Nana, can you buy me, because we will buy books. The half-price books, their mom and dad will take them.
I remember that there was a post that April had made several years ago, and it's a picture of them. I think it's him holding John, and he's crying, and he's like,
no, he's puckered up because that lady took
they went to half-price books, and he picked out some books. Well, you have to pay for the books, so they handed them over to this woman or man or whatever to pay for the books, and John thought they were taking the books away, so he started crying.
He was so cute. He was way puckered up. I took that picture. I was standing on the corner of the counter, and these are your books now. You got to take good care of them. And he's loved them up, y'all, walking all through this big store. It's a big one. And he took such good care of them books as his daddy carried him around. Daddy picked out a couple, Mom picked out a couple, I picked out my own, paid for my own. And I walked around, and I thought, let's see how this is the first time, y'all, that he realized, he was 2.5, realized that you're buying something, that you pay for stuff. So Mom said, well, I got to pay for them. And Dad goes, yeah, okay. And Mom says, I'll do it. So April had stepped up and took out her wallet and it was ready to pay for the books. Well, they scanned, I paid first, got out of the way. They scanned all theirs. And I thought, I want to record that baby, or at least take his picture. Back then we weren't really recording that much. So I took his, so I thought, and all of a sudden, Dad goes, well, let's give them to the lady. And that's all he said. And little John, his little heart was broken. He was taking such good care of his books, and now he can't have them.
He's taking his books away.
And she goes, it'll be real fast. And I never seen anybody scan something as fast as that lady did. She didn't ask if we wanted a bag or nothing. And she handed him back to that baby. And he held him with both of his hands like this. He thought, man, y'all have to work to get him back from me.
John's an exception, and Dot are kind of an exception to sort of what Mystical is saying here. Mystical says, but they haven't dedicated hardly any time to exercising their vocabulary, expanding their vocabulary, exercising their imagination. Sorry.
There you go. I'm with you on that.
Having a great imagination is a huge asset to have as an adult. It makes you a better problem solver at work, etc. Well, because me making my little short films and stuff, I got one. I got my script. I hope to make it someday. I like to create, to make stories up, and to get working on those short films and working with people and this, it kind of goes back to the old, what Mickey Rooney and the show Let's Put on a Show, let's put on a show, go in and clean out the barn and let's put on a show. I like that. I like to put on a show.
Let me tell you, and let me interrupt, and then I'll get up and go and be right back. That's true for a lot of kids. And my grandson, John, like I said, is 11. In April, he'll be 12, but he has one best friend, right? Because he's artistic. He's doing stop animation, and he likes to learn different things, right? He homeschools, and he's ahead of the homeschool by 1.5 years if he was going to public school, which hopefully they'll never make him do because he don't want to. Sister is 10, And he's artistic, figures things out, right? She's artistic. She likes to paint and sculpt. And so they're unplugged a lot. They're online time is scheduled by their mother and father. So they don't have their heads stuck in no imagination. Now, I know they both are very temperamental about certain things. You tell John, you got to stop reading and come eat. One more chapter or something, so, but they've been raised, show your emotions, it's fine, but, keep your temper in check, but they're both very artistic. So I'm very, very, very proud of that. Now, everybody's grandchildren are brilliant, right? But they actually have something new to tell me or share with me every time I talk to them, which is a couple of times, sometimes 3 times a week. We video chat like this. So anyway, yeah, I do think kids need to be taught how to imagine, to use their imagination, to write short stories, things like that, to work. And I'm a big supporter of looking up words you don't know, right? And so learning that way too.
Let's see. They don't provide an education in public school anymore. They mostly provide an indoctrination. Sad times.
I believe that, because my daughter homeschooled both these kids till this year, and Dorothy wanted to go to public school. So Dot begged to go to public school because John's an introvert. It's just his personality. Dot is an extrovert. She needs people, so mom said, okay, I'll get you back in public school. And she has thrived big time in there. But she'll come home and tell her mom a few things, and her mom goes, yeah, well, we'll just pick that up this weekend. So she's still being homeschooled along with public school on certain things.
Well, good deal. And I guess, like I say, I'll definitely come back to 90s films. Like I say, if I talk to Akers anytime soon, and she wants to talk about the 90s films, we'll definitely do that. But this is the last one I'll talk about for now. And I love Westerns. Of course, the John Wayne, and I just love, I got right now on the television, I've got the Gunsmoke on Pluto TV. I watched the old Gunsmokes, James Arness, Gunsmoke, and I just love Westerns. And I would say maybe what I would consider the last classic Western is Unforgiven. And this is 1992. It's Clint Eastwood, who, of course, made all those great spaghetti Westerns. He made a lot of Westerns. But this one, he directed it. Clint Eastwood did, Unforgiven. And Morgan Freeman's in it, Gene Hackman. Retired Old West gunslinger Will Mooney reluctantly takes on one last job to avenge an injustice with the help of his old partner and a newer outlaw known simply as the Schofield Kid. Yeah, and Unforgiven sort of examines what it means to be a killer, what it means to kill somebody. I don't have the exact line down, but there's a moment where Clint Eastwood says it's a hell of a thing killing somebody. You take away everything he has and everything he ever will have. You take everything away from him. You kill someone. It's a hell of a thing to do that, to kill somebody. And he was the character is someone that was a gunslinger in his older days, and he killed men, women, children. He killed. And he's trying, with his wife and his son, trying to put that life away. But his cattle are dying. He's scraping by, needs money to get by, and is approached by these whores, basically prostitutes, that one of them, where her face was all slashed up by this drunken guy, slashed her face up, and they want revenge for that. They want him killed. So they hire Clint Eastwood to kind of come back out of retirement to hunt this man down and kill him, and brings in Morgan Freeman and this kid that kind of considers himself a gunslinger, but he's really not, Yeah, hang on. My TV's kind of acting up here, so hang on. But anyway, it's a great movie. Great Clint Eastwood performance, and like he directed. And I kind of consider that the last truly classic Western is Unforgiven. Not to say there's not good ones made after that, but
Yeah.
to me, that's the last really great one is Unforgiven by Clint Eastwood. So, yeah, that's where I'll stop with the 90s movies for now. Like I say, we'll probably pick that subject up later. We got about 10 minutes left, before we hit 2 hours. So we'll kind of wind
I've been watching a series on TV on Netflix called Hitman. And it's so good. Here's the premise of it. If you hadn't seen Hitman, you might want to check it out. I don't miss an episode. And so basically, this guy is a professor. He's a college professor, right? I think he's college. It might be it might be high school, but anyway, no matter. He's a teacher. He's recruited by the police department. They said, listen, we're having a lot of people that are trying to kill their family, for money or revenge or whatever. And so we are going to let you meet them at a place like a restaurant and let them tell you who they want killed and why. And once they mention the money and walk out the door, we're going to bust them. Y'all, it's so good. And so he's not actually going to kill nobody, but he's trapping them is what he's doing. But these people are going to go to somebody. So why not go to somebody that can prevent the murder?
And
right?
I think that's good. I do want to see that.
It's really good. And it's several different people. It's not, one or two. It's several different people.
Well, and there's something we may want to think about doing. It's called a hot take. Now, a hot take is an opinion about something that most people would not have that opinion. It's like whether it be about a movie or just about anything. Yeah. Here's my opinion about this. And it's going to be, well, that's kind of surprising. Most people wouldn't have that opinion about that movie or about that subject or something like that. That's called a hot take.
And we have them anyway.
But anyway, the reason why I bring that up is because Mystical has got a hot take. After I brought up Unforgiven, he's got a hot take. Kevin Costner's Wyatt Earp is the best modern Western, in my opinion. Tombstone, Unforgiven, none of those even compare.
Oh, yeah?
And he said, personally, I thought Unforgiven was boring. It's just boring. I can see, honestly, Mystical, I can see why people would think that movie is boring. It is very slow moving. It's a slow take. It kind of creeps along. I love it.
I do too. Yeah. I always have. But yeah.
I respect your opinion. I don't agree with it, but I respect your opinion on Unforgiven. But I really like Wyatt Earp also. I think that's a great movie. And Wyatt Earp was epic. Great cinematography, acting, score, everything was so well done. Yeah, I agree with that too, though. I really like Wyatt Earp, and I think it's a great movie. So yeah. But hot take. So be thinking of what your hot takes might be.
Oh my gosh.
Could this be an opinion about something that would be sort of a surprise to people that you would have that opinion? Or it might be an opinion about a movie or just an event or something that most people wouldn't have that opinion. Most people would just like, really? You believe that? That's that's called a hot take.
Yeah.
You know, so that might be something to think of. We could do a hot take show. The Dead Pit guys did a hot take show here recently that was pretty entertaining. Mainly about movies, but about different movies. So okay, and with that hot take, and we'll sort of wind down here. As usual, I ask you guys if you would hit the thumbs up. That helps folks see us. That helps the rhythms and all that. And if you want to plug your own channel here again, Kathy.
Well, like I said, it's very diverse from this one, but it's called Texas Nana's, NANA' Place, PLACE. Texas Nana's Place. You don't never know what I'm going to talk about. I just released a ghost story. You wouldn't finish it, you said, but it's a ghost story that was recounted to me, and I thought it really was emotional for me to hear it. Took me 5 months to finally get it recorded and get it and share it, but it was really good. And then my personal one's on there. Then I cook. Then I do grocery hauls, pantry hauls. Pantry hauls basically means food pantry hauls. I do grocery hauls. I do thrift store hauls. I love thrift stores. And I've got 2 real near me, and then one a little ways off I go to sometimes. And then, there's just a little bit of anything that comes out of mine. Now, they are not live streaming, though, like this one. I record them, and then I share them. We talk food in the kitchen. Yeah, so anyway, there we go. That's me in a nutshell. It's not monetized, and I don't plan on monetizing it unless YouTube says if you don't monetize, we're kicking you off. Well, then I might have to try to figure that out. I don't want to, though. So, but anyway, there you go.
Well, okay. Well, yeah, this has been another good one. And Kathy kind of teased me about that. I always say that. Well, this has been a good one.
I love it. To me, that's your signature, dude.
Yeah, but I think it was a good one. And thanks to everybody who chimed in today. Mystical, you've had a lot to say today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll do this again hopefully soon. And I'll want to put the word out again. If anyone wants to join me for the nighttime shows, which is usually 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Usually we have a subject that the shows, the midday shows like this, usually we'd talk about just anything. I'll have some subjects to talk about, but the nighttime shows, I like to be a little more centered on a subject. Usually it's movies or directors or something like that, but I'm open to any suggestions. But if anyone would be up to joining me for the nighttime shows, please comment, let me know, contact me in some way, and let me know if you would be up for joining me for the nighttime stuff, the being real stuff.
Yeah. I don't do nighttime shows. I used to do them with him, but I don't do them anymore, y'all. I start getting tired that time of night, and I just got to chill, or I would get insomnia. Okay. But what I was going to say is Jay and I did a real nice retrospect into some of the works of David Lynch in an earlier video that's on his channel. So y'all might want to check it out, since we are, saying our final rest in peace to him.
Yeah.
It's something, you might, in memoriam, you might want to check it out.
But yeah, and like I say, if you please hit the thumbs up, and if you like what you're seeing, please spread the word. Let other folks know about us, about my channel, about Kathy's channel, Texas Nana's Place, and rest in peace, David Lynch.
Thank you, Mystical.
But okay, Kathy and everyone, I guess we'll sign off for now. We'll talk to you guys soon. Y'all have a great weekend. Stay warm, stay busy, and be good to one another now. That's the main thing. Be good to one another. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.